Well, howdy folks, it's Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, making another video for you out of Boise, Idaho. And let me tell you, I am working on, or have been working on, what I call the Chrysler from hell. Okay, so this vehicle comes in, I think it's been a couple months ago now at this point. Vehicle comes in a few months ago with an AC system that was not working correctly. We had a blower motor that would cut out, and I'm very specific on that. It would cut out. It wouldn't just go up and down, up and down, up and down in speed. It would either A, not come on at all, and it would take a few minutes for it to come on, or B, it would come on, and then it would cut out, and then it would come back on, right? Okay, so we go in there, and we pull the blower motor, and we pull the power module underneath there. We test them both, and they both test bad. Okay, so let's go ahead and replace the blower motor and the power module. So we go ahead and we replace the blower motor and the power module, and a few days later, we get, a phone call from the customer saying, hey, it's doing the same thing again. And so I say, okay, bring it back in and let's check it for a warranty. So we bring it back in, and that blower motor is not necessarily doing the same thing. What that blower motor is doing is it's fluctuating in speed. It's, not necessarily going high in speed. It's just going low, high, low, high, low, high. It's not cutting out. It's just going low, high, low, high, low, high. Also, when you start the vehicle, it works just fine. The vehicle has to run for, a few minutes before it starts acting up, basically. And so I've actually got my son over here with me. He's here because I have him taking notes as I'm doing this. So we go ahead and we check the power module. Power module is good. Blower motor is no good. Okay, and not only is it no good, but when I hooked it up to a battery just to see if it would turn, it wouldn't turn at all. So that's odd. Okay, so I warranty out the blower motor, put the power module back in, put everything back together, get everything started, get everything going, drive it for, about 20, 30 miles or so, something like that. Drive it around town, and all of a sudden, boom, it happens again. Except for this time, it's as if somebody is messing with the low-high speed control on it. All right, well, at this point, I went ahead and I go out and I use my multimeter and I start checking voltage. And one of the things that I noticed is I hooked my multimeter up to the blower motor, and then also I hooked up two test lights. I hooked up down to the blower motor down there, and then I also hooked up two test lights, one after the power module and one before the power module, because I wanted to see if voltage was dropping off here at the blower motor and the power module, if voltage was dropping off after the power module, or if we've got something else, another gremlin in here. Maybe the speed control is no good. The only problem with the speed control being no good is this van went to Chrysler after I also had to replace a blend door actuator. And I have another video on here showing the original diagnosis of the blend door actuator not working. So I replaced that as well. I got the blend door actuator working, got the fan working, got the AC working. It went to Chrysler. Blend door actuator gets recalibrated. They go through it. It shows no issues with the AC. Comes back to me, has a problem, right? So I start going through it again. Lo and behold, I end up finding out that the voltage spikes to as much as 20 plus volts at a time. And at that point, that's going to start damaging computers, power modules, high voltage at sensors. It's going to damage sensors. It's going to cause all kinds of issues and problems. One of the things that I noticed is that there's no service intervals or no service records. The battery was, I think the battery was around 8 years old. The battery was 8 years old, and the pulley on the alternator had actually worn out. And so the alternator was intermittently working off and on, off and on. And that's what I traced the 19 volt spike back to, because anytime it would spike to 19 volts, it would also drop down to as low as 12.5, 13 volts, okay? And so at that time, I would have, at this point in the equation, at this point in the diagnosis, I not only have an AC system that's acting up, I have all kinds of lights on the dashboard that's acting up. I've got, traction control lights coming off and on, and all kinds of just bells and whistles. Anytime you use the windows, the AC doesn't work right. Anytime the cooling fan doesn't come on, other stuff doesn't work right. So it's just a mess. Yeah, my son pitched in here and said anytime you hit the window button. So like I said, he's here to take notes, okay? Because this has become a very extensive diagnostic and repair that we're trying to figure out. I can't figure out. Who knows? So, we've been checking grounds. We've been trying to figure it all out. So we replaced the alternator, all right? And along with that, I was going to replace the belt tensioner, and I thought I got a free belt tensioner along with the alternator. I actually didn't. They sent me a completely different part, and it's not even for this vehicle, so that's no fun. But anyways, so I replaced the alternator. Now we have a voltage spike of 13.9 to 15.5 and an AC system that doesn't work correctly, right? So that's where we're at. That's where we're at. A voltage spike of, basically 13.9 to 15.5. It'll hold normal charge. What's weird is it'll spike up to 15.5, 15.1. When it spikes up, the radio and the AC system cut out, and then it cuts back in. Okay? And it does that between the alternator and the battery. I can't figure it out. Now, I did realize, like I said, I did take some notes and noticed that after it's been running for a minute, if you do two windows at the same time, you can definitely get it to spike. If you flash the high beams, you can get the voltage to spike. So I'm going to show you this voltage spike and see what you think here. Okay, so here we are. Vehicle's running, right? Everything works fine. Everything looks fine. I bet you as soon as that fan kicks on, it's going to act up. Hang on. I've also changed the computer on this vehicle as well. I'm going to pause it until the fan kicks on. Okay, so we've got AC fan that is kicked on, and I believe we have electrical systems not working correctly. Let me see if I can mimic this. Okay, see, there you go. Anytime I use, anytime I do this, there's a drop. I don't know if we can hear this. I'm going to go back through. Let me turn the radio off. And let's see if you can hear this drop. Okay, so anytime I use the windows, we've got a drop in voltage. Now I'm going to see what it looks like at the battery when I do that. Okay, and something you can see here. Watch this. Can you hold that camera for me?
Yes.
All right, watch this now. Let's use Windows. Look at the ECU voltage. So if you notice, anytime we use the windows, look at that drastic drop all of a sudden. As of right now, everything's working fine. I'm going to tell you what, though, everything's going to work fine until whatever is causing this drop in voltage, this change in voltage kicks in, and it causes another voltage spike, destroys another computer, destroys another fan, destroys another power module somewhere. Who knows? So at this point, I ultimately don't know what's going on. I have spoken with Chrysler, and Chrysler has said that the original alternator going bad is what ultimately, that original voltage spike and that alternator going bad, spiking to 19 volts, is what destroyed the system, basically. Destroyed the totally integrated power module, destroyed the power module for the AC system, more than likely took out one of the, what do you call it? Computers? Door blend actuator. Took out one of the door blend actuators, took out the fan, took out the power module, took out the TIPM. You know, the catch is there's no telling what else that major spike in voltage took out. The difference is we no longer, after replacing the alternator and the battery, we no longer have that voltage spike. We also no longer have an AC system. I've been trying to get it now for 11 minutes to act up. That's no longer acting up. But since you see, look, that ECU voltage, there it goes again. So Chrysler has suggested that maybe the belt tensioner is not correct on this vehicle, which I said is interesting, because when I bought the alternator, I thought they were going to send me a belt tensioner. They ended up not sending me a belt tensioner, so I wonder what happens if I put this vehicle in gear. What type of look at that, a voltage drop. Put the vehicle into gear and there's a voltage drop. Look at that. Chrysler, the Chrysler expert that I've been speaking with, did tell me in a rare case that belt or belt tensioner could be causing this problem. But at this point, I don't know, man. I've been in and out of this thing like crazy. So what are your thoughts and suggestions on this? I'm curious what you think. I know the customer wants their vehicle back, so I think I'm getting ready to give it back. I think at the end of the day, there's either one more electrical component in here that is causing that voltage spike, or B, it actually, you're looking at a bad belt tensioner that, you know, along with an alternator and everything else, has caused some pretty insane electrical issues. So I'll tell you what, this is definitely one for the books, that's for sure. Alrighty, folks, well, this is Matthew, your friendly neighborhood technician, signing off.